All right, moving on. So Univision, which is the largest Spanish-speaking network in America, is facing a ton of backlash for dropping Biden's ad campaigns during Trump's hour-long interview on November 7th.
Okay.
So this is being reported online. Univision is getting a bunch of backlash. People are boycotting the network. John Leguizamo, who I'm constantly telling to shut up online.
I'm confused.
Yeah, so John Leguizamo went online and shared a clip, and John Leguizamo said, the Univision is now like a MAGA network, just like Fox. Like they're banning Biden's ads. That is not true. An hour before Trump's exclusive interview with Univision, it's the first interview that he's given Univision since 2016. So right before that interview began airing, they shared that they had a new policy where they would not be airing opposition ads during a candidate's interviews.
Okay.
And so Biden had ads that they had already planned to air that they then took
Pulled.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are calling them out for this and saying that they are basically taking opportunities from the viewers to be educated and to know more about the candidates. There is also a lot of backlash about the actual Trump interview because there were a
Right.
lot of softball questions. Trump was talking about how much the executives like him.
Yeah.
His son-in-law Jared Kushner is best friends with one of the executives, and they were all there at the interview. So this was clearly a softball question. They wanted the ratings, and that is
Yeah.
very
That's
evident.
it.
Beside that, which I think is ridiculous, my question is this going to hurt Democrats, or should Democrats just be working harder for minority voters?
Hurt Democrats how? Having an
Them-
interview for Trump?
It looking like Univision is sliding more.
No, I'm
Trump.
glad that they're calling them out for it because first of all, Trump don't need any interviews on Telemundo, Television, nothing for Latinos. He has done nothing for Latinos. Why would they interview him? Why would they give him a platform? Like, did they not learn anything from 2016? Giving him free promo got him elected.
Well, I personally believe that this is just another reminder to the DNC and to Democrats in general that they need to work harder for minority voters. They constantly take Latino voters for granted, black voters for granted. And here's one statistic. So this year, according to a report by Cybersecurity for Democracy, federal candidates have spent an estimated $230,000 on Spanish language ads versus $19.9 million on English language ads. That is a fraction of the amount.
Right.
And it just goes to show that there is no effort. We are always just taken for granted. So I do think that if it lights a fire under Biden's ass to find other ways to reach Latino voters, that he should do that.
If I'm not mistaken, too, I think Univision reached out and they were planning an interview with Biden, right? I think more when this comes down to the interview itself, right? As a journalist and speaking ethically, credibility is a constant thing that we're like fighting every single day. As a journalist without a big network behind you and you just sitting there, you yourself and everything you put out there, right? So I think right now, I forget the journalist's name who had that interview with Trump for that Univision special. But for me, I was thinking about it and I'm like, damn, like those kind of questions and letting him lead a certain conversation and maneuver things. I think when I do a sit down, if I'm doing an interview with someone, yeah, we're taking the editorial direction here, but how much are you allowing for that? Before they step into the interview, their PR teams are like really like, all right, what are we looking at? Like, what kind of questions?
Yeah.
You don't have to show that. You do not have to. If I'm interviewing you, I don't need to show you what we're going through. I can brief you on what we're doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what we're trying to grab from you, someone who's a former president, but also the gunning to run again. We're here to ask you those questions, those direct questions that affect the communities. We're not looking here to fluff a piece up.
The question that comes to me is like, how irresponsible is this when networks are landing these interviews that they know are going to be clickbait, they know people are going to watch. It's the smoke and mirrors, it's the pomp and circumstance, and it's hitting the bottom line. It's to bring in dollars because people are going to watch that. I feel like it's really irresponsible, and that's what it comes down to. Like I think I question the integrity of networks that do these interviews, and it is the fluff, and they're not asking the right questions, and it's just about like we need to get these ratings. We need people to watch so that we can bring in ad dollars. That to me is just...
And you letting Trump run the narrative.
Yeah.
It's not an interview at this point.
Right.
It's another rally.
Exactly.
It really does become where if you're not, like, again, asking those questions, if I'm sitting across from you and we're trying to spread information into a certain community, Univision, I think they've had a relationship past almost decade now, right? But I was reading on the Washington Post, Joaquin Blaya, the former president of Univision, was saying that he feels that he's worried actually that the network has lost or is stepping away from the founding mission, which essentially is for the Latino people, right? Getting that and to put someone and with the conversations that are so, conversations and comments that he's had that are super polarizing and that have affected the community, it kind of feels like a punch to the gut, like really, and dressing him a certain way, right?
I just honestly am not surprised, and I think that we forget what a good job the GOP does at targeting minority voters.
Oh, absolutely.
They're great at it. Like the words communism and socialism, like just repeating that over and over again, it works. Like Florida went from being a purple state to being a fully red state. The Miami-Dade County is 70.8% Latino. And Trump got that entire vote. It was not even close.
To me, like, I feel like, are people drinking the Kool-Aid? I guess. Like, I feel like at what point does the onus come on the people to not be so gullible to actually do their homework? I think that people, if I'm so easily swayed by just taking in the information that someone's spewing versus actually going to understand. Like,
but find the facts.
But here's the thing: is they're getting the information from the people who are trying to get it to them. When you are not, reaching out to the people, they're only going to take what they're getting, and they're like, "Well, this must be it," because I'm not hearing from the other guy. He's not showing up anywhere. So
I don't believe that's the case.
Hope.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's the case. Also, Latino is not monolithic. Like, in California, they have way more Latinos than Florida. It's not a red state. New York has way more Latinos than Florida. So it's not about that. The thing is, they don't believe that they're being affected negatively by the party. Like, Republican Party is taking care of them, obviously, if they keep getting their vote in Florida. But clearly, Univision was still on the right track because they didn't interview him for the 2020 election. So what changed now?
He refused. Univision has been bought out.
Yeah.
Univision is no longer the same owners as it was.
But he
while
refused
he was in
because
office.
at that time, the interview wasn't going to be a speech for him.
Of course.
It was going to be, you did this, you did this, you did this, why? Now he should be getting questioned about his indictments. Things that he didn't do the first time. The wall, the immigration, how he handled Hurricane Maria. But if you're not going to ask him that, of course he's going to come back every time. So what, they're going to keep giving him interviews?
Yep.
So I'm glad that they are being held to the fire.